Hey there, Michael Griffiths here, founder of Referral Marketing Guru, and welcome to this week's Get More Referrals Today podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about nurturing, and in particular, how to be able to get people who are interested in your service to become your clients. In the end, it's what it's all about. I hear so many different things. Oh, I've got a long sales cycle. Oh, it takes a lot of trust before my prospects will become my clients. Oh, it's just reason after reason after reason after reason. And in essence, it's just the story that you've told yourself. So what actually is it that takes somebody from I'm interested to I want to be able to be your client? I want you to be able to help me with whatever service it is that you provide. Let's dive into it and let's explore, because really it's not as hard as what we make it out to be. Okay, our cortex, logical, rational, analytical brain just makes it so much harder than really what it is. So before I dive into that, as always, this is the first time you've come join us. Welcome. This is our weekly podcast helping you grow your business, become more profitable, make greater impact, and truly love the business that you have. So prospects, hey, they're everywhere. But most of the time as a business owner, we don't have the same way of thinking as what the prospect has. Okay? We see prospects as, here is someone who is ready to buy from me. Well, that might not be the case. Okay? We're making some big assumptions there. The prospect just might simply be looking around. There might be a word you used or a phrase you used that they were intrigued about. And that's why they came into your world. I could take a great example this morning. This morning, I was just searching around, doing a bit of property research, and up came an article. So I clicked on the article and I started reading it. Then it had, hey, come and get weekly briefing every single week about property. I'm like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. So I put into it. I'm not ready to buy their property. I'm not interested in their property. They do a lot of off-the-plan stuff. Don't think that is for me. So right now, if they saw my name and my email come through, they might go, oh, here is a good prospect. I'm not. I was just interested in something, and therefore I wanted to get it. I'm happy to give my details to be able to get it, and I'll either stay around or I won't stay around. Can you see straight away how there's very different ways of what they might be thinking as the business owner versus what the actual person was thinking when they filled in their information? And that is why we've got to close that gap. Otherwise, you just set yourself up for pain. I would actually say that the majority of people right now who fill in forms, who get whatever free thing you have, are actually less likely to buy than more likely to buy. They are looking. They are interested in just being able to get, for whatever reason in that very moment, whatever it was that happened to pop up in front of them, that's what they were interested in. So what then takes somebody from simply, I've come into your world, I'm slightly interested, through to, I could actually see how you might really help me and make my life better? Well, I think let's come back into the business owner way of thinking right now. And let's come back into how they need to think. See, the first thing we've got to understand and we've got to appreciate, we've got to realize is we've got to understand from the prospect's viewpoint. Okay? The prospect might or might not have a huge problem around it. Like when you think about the scale, this line of 10, I have to have this pain point solved immediately. Let's do it. All the way through to 0. Hey, that looked interesting. I'm going to just have a bit more of a look around. And there's this big sort of scale from one end to the other end. And you've got no idea where they're at. And you can't until you get into a conversation with them. So the thing that we've always got to remember is, as much as there's technology and AI and all the other stuff, it's conversations that allow you to understand where your prospect is actually at. So that has to be the first step. You have to be asking yourself, how do I get into actual conversations where I can find out, not where I can add value, not where I can show where I can prove to them that I'm the right person. That's not what we should be doing right now. In this very first stage, we should simply be just getting into a conversation, getting curious to actually find out why they wanted to come into your world in the first place. Because there are so many different reasons, and you can't assume you actually understand why they've come into your world. So that's the first piece. Now, the second piece, as much as we want to think, the more we show them what we can do, the more we give them social proof, the more we add value to them, the more we allow them to better understand our solution and our service, the faster they'll buy. It's not actually really the case. There's some better questions. Now, don't get me wrong. There's parts of all of that 100% are necessary. But I think there are better questions to ask yourself. Like, think about when you were a prospect and you went somewhere. Really, our buying experience is exactly the same no matter what you're buying. Right? So think of the last thing you bought, a fairly big purchase. And think about what were your hesitations? What sort of were your obstacles or your roadblocks? Why did you sort of go, oh, yeah, I sort of do, I sort of don't? Do you actually even remember the moment where you went, yes, I'm over the tipping point now. Now I know I want it. Because when you can sort of work that out within yourself, you can start to understand other people's human behavior. I quite regularly, I'll ask people who are around me, and we might be out and let's just go, what was there? There was an oven. So we're out at a store, and it was like, everything looked positive. I just sort of sat back and watched them talk to the salesperson. They were getting the right information. And then it was like, I really appreciate it. Let me just have a bit of a look around, and I'll come back to you if I need your help. It's like, finished. And I asked them, so what was it? Why didn't you decide to get that one? Well, I just sort of didn't feel right about it. And he just didn't shut up to listen to what my actual questions were. So it just didn't feel right. I mean, interesting. So I continued the conversation just with the person I was with. So in essence, because they kept talking and weren't listening to you, you didn't feel a connection with him or any sort of with him that probably lowered the trust you had with him, and therefore you didn't feel real comfortable in buying from him. And they sort of thought about it for a little bit. I went, yeah, that's actually exactly what it was. How did you know that? I know that because it's exactly the same for every single human being buying anything. If you don't feel heard, if you don't feel listened to, you can't create a trust bond closeness with the other person. If you can't create a trust bond closeness with the other person, then you are 100% in your perception can't buy from them, because you don't have the trust to answer the key questions. Am I doing the right thing? Am I making a mistake? What happens if this doesn't work out? They are the three biggest questions that, when we get them right, speeds up someone from becoming a I'm interested to I would love you to be able to help me. But very rarely do we even focus on those three questions. We're more focused on what we can do for them rather than just simply listening to them, caring about them, making them feel a particular way, connect with them, bond with them, share personal shared moments with them. They're the things that matter, not you shoving your zone of genius, your brilliance, your articles, your latest video, your latest podcast in their face. It's not what it's about. See, to me, those sorts of things, they're 100% useful. but they're useful for people who right now are probably just at a beginning stage. They're learning about you. They're learning, hey, do I actually even like this person, trust this person? Do I resonate with this person? Do we have the same sort of character? They're all important things that subconsciously we make decisions on. You know how there's sometimes you just get along with this particular person in the room, and there's other people in the room where you, oh God, do I have to speak to that person again? And it's just simply because you are like some people and you are very unlike other people. But your job as a business owner, as someone who in particular is in charge of sales, you have to be able to find your people, and the people who go, yeah, I resonate with them. Now you get into conversations, showing them, not telling them, showing them how much you care about them, showing them that you actually get what their pain point is. And whether it's you that can help them or there's someone else that you know that can help them, serve them so that they get their pain point solved. Don't make it about you. Okay, so get into conversations was the first part. Creating shared personal moments so you can create trust and bondingness and closeness is the third part. And now the final part is they have to be able to see how their life is going to be made better. They've got to be able to see how the pain's going to go. But they're not ready to see how the pain's going to go until the second step of closeness, bond, trust, personal shared moments has been created. So quite often, we try to do this last part in the second part, and we wonder why it takes people so long. It's because they haven't got the second part yet. This has to be done in order. So if you're trying to add value and you're trying to share how great you are, where in fact, what you should be doing is actually just creating trust, closeness, and bond, they're not open to being able to see your solution. They're not open to being able to understand that you can actually remove their pain point, make their life better. So you've got to make sure you do it in the right order. Let's quickly run back over them. The first part, you've got to get into conversations so that you understand what the actual pain point is and where they're at in the process. Otherwise, you're just guessing. You're thinking they're a hot lead where, in fact, they're not even a lead at all. They were just curious. So you've got to open up conversations. That's the first part. Second part is you've got to do things that create bonds and trust and shared moments, as I call them. Because that's what allows someone to resonate with you. And that's therefore what allows someone to become inspired by you. So then the next part is that you've got to be able to, once they're inspired, they're going to be willing to sit down. They're going to be willing to listen. They're going to be willing for you to be able to go through what it is you do and how you help them. And if I was to go, what's the biggest mistake? Is we try to do number 3 all the way up at number 1. And then we wonder why it doesn't work. You haven't tapped into our hardwiring. You haven't tapped into the brain chemicals. You haven't tapped into the limbic system. That's why it needs to be done in the right order. If it's not done in the right order, it falls flat on its face. So have a look right now. Have a look at your process. How do you bring someone into your world? That means they become part of, maybe they become part of your social network, they become part of your CRM, they become part of your wider network, whatever it happens to be. How do you build an audience and bring someone into your world? Then second, how do you deepen the relationship with that person by creating shared moments? It's got nothing to do with what you do. It's got nothing to do with your business. It's got nothing to do with social proof. It's creating shared moments with them. Find out things that they like to do. Invite them to things. Create time with people. They're the shared moments. And then they might be interested in your solution and how you help them. That's when you can share it. If someone doesn't resonate with you, they can't be inspired by you. Therefore, they can't be willing to know how you can make their life better. Resonate, inspire, life better. Follow it in those 3 steps. Hopefully that's been super helpful. Make sure you subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. We are everywhere. Get more referrals today. Follow us on YouTube, where videos are going up every single week, helping you become more profitable, grow your business, make bigger impact, have the business that you truly love. Till next time, take care, or just see you real soon. Have a great weekend.